Sleep is for people who have like proper mental health and life balance, life work balance, and balance in hobbies.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. What's sleep?
I just like the response is I don't.
Oh, Madam Pele sleeps sometimes.
Madam Pele is a queen who knows what she's doing. We are unga bunga. Right. We cannot be held responsible. I refuse.
She's guiding us.
We should just do what Madam Pele does. If Madam Pele's sleeping, we sleep. If Madam Pele's erupting, we erupt. If Madam Pele's having a jig, we do a jig.
Yeah. But sometimes she jigs for a long time, and sometimes she sleeps for a long time. It may behoove people to.
Could you imagine building your entire economy and entire like world production system around like the whims of a volcano?
I think it's been done before.
I like it. I'm here for it. More. I
mean, the North Island of New Zealand is around the whims of a volcano, for example.
That's not untrue.
Less soil, and it's got critters that the Australians make jokes about. Allegedly.
I like it.
Oh. Okay.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Debate Hub. We are here to talk about our volcano watch and our lovely, lovely Madam Pele and find out what's going on. Please keep in mind with what we had talked about with the fires that had gone on, that we were talking about last week. Please, or not last week, Jesus Christ, last month. Please feel free to take a look at the links down in the description below because that is still an ongoing issue. It will continue to be an issue for a little while. So please, if you're interested in supporting, please feel free to go and check out those links that are listed down below. Thank you so much for your support. Landon, Maanyaa, how are you guys? Happy weekend.
Is Maanyaa awake, or is she just pretending to be awake? You could tell from Well, we'll see. We'll see how.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. See if we lose her halfway through. Maanyaa blew her load talking about Andrew Tate earlier already. Phrasing. So, Landon, it's been a while since you've been here. What's going on with you?
Yeah, well, let's say, so our folks in the Lahaina region are still in need of support. Pretty significant devastation, and there's this sort of a tension between the wanting to be respectful of the place and not wanting to have it overrun by tourists. And what I've been told by a number of people is it's okay to go to visit Maui, where Lahaina was. Just don't go into the Lahaina region, which is on sort of the sort of the northwestern edge. Stay away from that because that still is there aren't services, and people are still trying to deal with the aftermath.
Right. Yeah, we had talked about that last month. We had said that just if you were planning vacations, don't go. And so that's a good update to add in. That's like there are now certain places you can go to, and that's fine. Yeah. But again, please be even more respectful than you would normally. Because I trust that everybody who watches this show is a good and wholesome member of society and absolutely not an absolute degenerate.
That's well, speak for yourself. But seriously, it is the case. If you do go to Hawaii, just avoid the areas where there are fires. Don't go looking around. Let the people there. But the other spots are still sort of open for tourism. But again, just don't be a jerk. It's nice to be nice and don't be a jerk. That's not good.
Don't be a dick. It's the only real rule. Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah, so simple.
So those links in the description, as Jesh mentioned, are providing help for people that are really in a bad situation, and folks are having together. So any help you can do would be appreciated. So, but on the Big Island, where Madam Pele does her dances, we have some information now. What should we review what we predicted last time?
What do you got for us, Maanyaa?
Yeah. Shesh. No idea, no clue. Slow down a little bit, but not so much. Will be bubbly, little wiggly, flip. Landon. Deflation, inflation. See some real deflation, inflation events starting up. Irregular. They will be irregular. Will continue to. The mountain will continue to expand. A pile of earthquakes in the summit area will happen. Gas rates will continue to be low.
Okay. And
Mine?
yes.
What did I say? It will stay the same as it was last time, but it didn't stay the same as last time. We were all wrong, I think. So again, I think the Landon was actually.
So we make these predictions so we can laugh at how sometimes how far we are off, and if we happen to be right, it's probably right for the wrong reason. But still,
I gave up last month. I was like, I have no idea what the hell's going on today.
But hopefully these things gives you a notion, as you've been following along in these monthly events, how sometimes difficult it is to actually predict. We know long term what's going to happen about 50% of the time. The Kilauea volcano is erupting, and so it's a coin flip. But there have been long periods of time where it's not erupted, and long periods of time where it has erupted. It's just that trying to make sense of the data and making guesses it can be problematic because it's a very complex system. It's not that we don't understand some of the principles. It's that there's so many variables at play that it's very difficult to forecast. And so we have fun laughing at our forecasts, or maybe Madam Pele has fun laughing at her forecasts. Let's put it this way.
Yep.
So with that in mind, let's go and look at what's going on with there. So let me do the screen sharing, and there we go. All right. So the gas emission rates for the volcano are remain very low, as in. Like here, we're talking about approximately 75 tons per day.
Oh,
remember?
That's last time it was 121 tons. That's like half, like almost half. Yeah.
But it essentially is because when the volcano was erupting, we saw thousands of tons, sometimes tens of thousands of tons per day. So this is basically sort of smoldering from the outgas of the previous eruption. And what's significant here is that we can say that, well, magma has not come close enough to the surface for the bubbles of gas coming out of the magma to reach the surface, right? You'll often see gas levels start to rise because, well, magma is rock, it's liquid. It wants to sink, as rocks tend to do in a gravitational field. And sorry, Father Earthers, but that's the way it goes. And so what makes the magma rise is inside the magma there are gases under pressure. They're normal, and so much pressure that instead of being vapor, it's liquefied. But as the magma works its way towards the surface, why? Because of that buoyancy given by the gases. The gases come out of solution, bubbles pop. Not only does it make seismic tremors, harmonic tremors, but those gases going to solution then our bubbles pop and work their way up to the surface. So you'll see elevations of gases typically before you'll see lava on the surface. So this being very low, I mean, 75 tons per day is really just the previous lava that was in that huge lake that's sort of just outgassing. And that will just sit there. So it suggests that the magma is not reaching the surface or close enough for the gas is giving a buoyancy to start to come through cracks in the surface.
So I have a question. So I think so last time we noted that the surface rose or expanded by 11 meters, was it?
That sounds right.
Oh, you're talking about the level. Yes.
Yeah, I wrote rose / expanded, so it's I probably rose. I think so by 11 meters. Is it still doing that?
Lake. Well, there's no magma coming to the surface in the form of lava, so it hasn't added to the surface. And there, if anything, the rock probably compressed a wee bit but it's now, the rock is now pretty solid and is not going to contract very much. So that 11 meters was the result of the previous eruption phase, putting lots of lava, filling the entire caldera with 11 meters of lava. We'll see a diagram here in just a moment. But as I said, not much of gas coming out, and magma is not getting close enough to the surface where it's cracks that we're starting to see additional gas coming in. So tilt meters. So here is tilt meter the last 2 days, and remember 1 microradian here on the side. It goes from minus 0.6 to plus 0.6. 1 microradian is 1 kilometer bar moved up 1 millimeter. So for those that are metrically challenged, something like 0.6 of a mile moved up the thickness of a dime. Really slight, but nonetheless measurable amounts of stuff. And we can see the last few days there are these things that kind of look like deflation, inflation, sort of kind of, if you squint at it, maybe. If we look,
would that happen to be considered a wibble wobble?
Could be. I mean, you tell me whether this is this is not a really strong deflation, inflation stuff. This is over the past week. But it is doing some cycling. If we look over the past month since our last visit, you start to see things that this looks like a deflation, inflation, deflation, inflation, deflation, inflation, kind of, sort of, but not really strong. Now, it in terms of the tilt meter, after our show, there was some rise in the tilt meter, and it's gone kind of leveled off and gone flat, even though it has, if that is this a deflation, inflation thing? Kind of, sort of, if you squint at it, but it's not really strong. So what is this telling us? Well, remember, when the mountain inflates, that's usually a result of magma at the top rising to the point where those dissolved gases begin to boil. Bubbles. That bubbles pushes on the rock and causes a lift. If there's no cracks for it to go, that'll just build up pressure and it'll rise a little bit. But then the magma having outgassed is now, you think it's like stale soda. It doesn't have it's not soft, and it sinks, and that's the deflation part. So it inflates and deflates, and that is a function of the magma inside the magma chamber turning over, right? It rolls over. So the stuff with gases and material coming from deep in the earth comes to the surface, stuff rises, fizzes out.
So you would say that there is a cycle happening, but it's not a full deflation cycle. It's like stuff's kind of just like turning over and is in movement and motion, going through like it's general average process, that it just in the fact that it is active.
And how fast it turns. If
Yeah, like a lava lamp.
Yeah, yeah. And if it's just turned on, it's not doing very much. But if it's really active and is tumbling around, it'll bubble much more. And so deflation inflation events, their speed gives you a function of how much energy is coming into the magma chamber, and the stuff is turning over. It's sort of a function of energy. But the fact we don't have much in the way of gas suggests that stuff isn't getting through the rock to the surface, at least gas wise. And these deflation inflation things are really they kind of are in the shape of it, but it is not really a strong signal. You don't have the real telltale signs. If you go back to some of our previous shows where it's erupting, you do see that it's kind of the inverted V where it I mean, this you could sort of say as well, it starts off here and it is deflating and then it reinflates, but it kind of sort of inflates and kind of doesn't, kind of does and kind of doesn't. So it's, if there's DEI events here, they're weak and they're not very often.
Makes sense.
So in terms of summit expansion, here's what happened. It has pretty much, if you look at this section over here, it's pretty much stayed flat.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of uprise, but I mean, this is like
so
a decimeter. So this would be like only a couple centimeters in length across the caldera. So a tenth of a meter. I mean, that I would guess maybe 2-3 centimeters.
Would you say that it's slowing down then and just kind of settling into a cycle then?
I mean, it looks like, given we've had things, but here's a case where it actually contracted for a while and then sped up again. This was the beginning of that eruption, our last eruption, which stopped here, and it contracts often because when it erupts, stuff is coming out, so it's no longer pushing the against the summit, and so the summit sometimes contracts as part of an eruption. And there's another eruption over here as well, but this has now been fairly flat. So we're not, we've had flat zones before. This is the past year. If you look over the 5 years, we can definitely see that the eruption phases, these sharp drops are eruption phase changes. But if you look at it from the middle of the year, it is on an upward trajectory. It's just that right now it's not climbing as fast, right? It isn't climbing as fast as it was in the middle of last year.
It's still climbing, but it's like not fast. It's it's slowed down, but it's still climbing, right? The average is still climbing, but it's slow.
Yes, and it certainly has
sounds
not
like my YouTube channel.
This is the YouTube algorithm.
Oh no!
It's about as predictable. Yes. Did I say that? I just hope you don't get.
I don't know how or why you got kicked off of YouTube, Landon. Can't imagine.
Well, you have to ask Red Eye allegedly. That's another story.
Yeah.
All right,
okay.
Wait, Maanyaa, do you not know about this?
No.
Oh, we'll have to fill Maanyaa in later. Sorry, Landon. Please continue.
If I can stay awake.
Maanyaa's out of the loop.
So are these deflation inflation events not quite? Is expanding? Yes, but not very fast at the moment. But it has had a period of time where it's leveled off and gone up again. So it's too early to say, oh, this thing's flattened and now it's downhill. I think it hasn't moved as much over the past month as it has before. So you tell me. But if you look at the longer term trend since last year, it certainly is on the way up, just not as fast.
Still a steep rise. Yeah, it's still a steep rise, very steep. Yeah, interesting.
And this expansion suggests that there's still pressure from the magma underneath that's trying to push against the surface, causing it to expand. But as also typical, it happens with an eruption. Once the magma breaks through someplace, then the pressure pushes the magma out, so you get that surge of lava on top, and pressure gets released, and the mountain will sometimes sink in. So we see these drops, these big drops here, come from eruptions beginning or ending, where you get that surge of material. So we're not seeing that. So let's see. Moving on. Let's look at the
interesting.
The summit as well. Mm-hmm. So here again, this is the old. This pink area is the old lava lake, and this brown area was this eruptive vent on the side, which suggested that it was this lake rock material was getting more solidified, harder for magma to work its way up through the rock, and actually worked its way around the edge and started coming out this vent, pouring from the vent into the side.
Landon, do you mind zooming in just a little bit on that one?
Okay. The other way.
Oops.
In.
There you go. That's better. Thank you.
Okay. Ooh. So we see again, here is so this is the main caldera. So there's the volcano house and the visitor center over here. This is the main caldera top of the volcano. And this was the Holiomau pit, which is now sort of sunk in because of this drop down block. And this pink area here was where the crusted lava flows, right? That was the active lava flows before. When last eruption, this thing was completely filled with lava, and it's had, as typically happens, as lava starts pouring onto the surface, it gets harder for lava to go through lava, right? Lava keeps puts pressure and resists the magma pushing up through it. If the vent is on the side of the mountain, then the lava just dribbles downhill towards the ocean. But when it's at the top, it's basically fighting itself. So we saw towards the end of this eruption that it worked its way around the side and came up and was coming from the side vent onto this area. This is this little eruptive vent. And that, again, we thought suggested that that this block of rock forming lava is getting harder and harder for the magma to work its way through. It has two tiny little islands that was left of the islands of a previous eruption. The eruption before the last eruption has two islands that are almost completely covered. And if we look at the side here, this is the diagram here that shows you the side of the caldera. So we're basically looking across this section, and we see this line here, this sort of yellowish orange line, was the level before the 2018 collapse. Remember, in the middle of 2018, we had a 35.5-year-long continuous eruption that stopped. And when it did, this thing fell in and created this black line, this big, deep black line, where it went almost 500 meters or 1,600 feet down, collapsed in. It started filling over with water. And then in 2020, it erupted again to this sort of lavender purplish line, boiled away the lake. And then the next vent, it came to this sort of dark sort of red, and then subsequent eruptions here. This last one, which added about 12 meters from the previous set to the surface. It looks small. It looks like it's slowing down, but remember, it's having to cover the lake wider and wider and wider.
It's relative to the surface area, right? Yeah. So like the amount, it's gone up 12 meters, but it's gone 12 up meters. The amount of lava that it needed to make that amount, rise that amount, has to cover 12 meters across like 1700
Yeah.
deer heights. Because this is American.
And
Whatever it is,
Yes.
washing machines.
Alsatian or whatever.
4 billion apples.
That's Canadian, Shash. Washing machines Canadian.
Oh, Americans don't have washing machines?
No, like the
Yeah.
reference is always made by Canadians.
We're the worst.
So-
don't try to read a cookbook in Canada. They're terrible. Chaos. Absolute chaos.
So since the collapse of 2018, the lava has filled 382 meters or 1,253 feet. So it's put a lot of lava in there. The volume right now is 4.2 billion or gallons, or that's almost 16 million cubic meters. And the area is 376 acres or 152 hectares. It is still below the spot where it starts filling this drop down block, but not much. But again, each successive eruption has got to put more and more material, and the magma has to work its way through this block of rock, which is now becoming an impediment.
So it's like as if like the surface is actually minimizing the damage that could be done by that, lava that's coming up with so much pressure and with the gas, isn't it?
Yes, and of course it's sitting here in the summit, so it's not bothering anyone, and makes a nice tourist attraction when it does erupt.
But but from beneath, when it starts going up, the pressure must be really high that it can travel through all these layers and reach to the top.
Yeah, but cracks can also give the gas a pathway, and then that pressure can crack rocks, weaken it, and allow a channel for magma to start to work its way through. Now we saw this little eruptive event here, this sort of brown spot, where the material, rather than going through the lake, went around the side and came in from the side, suggesting that that the magma found it to be an easier pathway to go around the side. Remember, again, if you look at this inset here, here's the Kilauea volcano under color, and shield volcanoes have these spines, these fault zones. So here's the surface where all this good stuff is, and it has this spine in the east rift zone and the southwest rift zone. In the 2018 eruption, the magma actually went down the rift zone underneath and came out at the end of the island, causing the summit to collapse, because roughly a cubic kilometer of magma worked its way down the rift zone underground. And that this big giant drop, going from around 1,100 meter elevation to 500 meters elevation, was a result of this drain event. Sort of fell in. This normally, in a normal thing, this would have been crusted over, and what we'll be seeing in here would be a magma chamber with rock on top and occasional lava stuff. But the summit fell in, and the result was basically what is effectively a magma chamber exposed at the top. So that's the current state of affairs for the territory. Now, one thing that's been happening is this.
Oh wow, that's quite close.
This opportunity has given geologists an opportunity to put in new cameras and sensors, particularly in this This is on the drop down block area. So if we go back to the map, they're basically putting stuff here. They're putting stuff in this region somewhere.
So you were allowed to go that near the surface?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much gas, and you put. It's
not hot. It's not hot, or did you wear your suits when you went down there? You must have.
Well, I mean, this stuff is warm. You can see some of the steam coming. That's probably some.
Yeah.
Pretty toasty warm.
Yeah, come on, Maanyaa. I like that. That's the temperature of my bathtub.
Yeah, this is. And Well, right, we'll look at the thermal camera to see what the temperature is.
Yeah.
Of
I was like,
surface.
what? I like,
But
yeah,
this
like
is this is
that's
old
too
rock.
close for me.
This material here is old rock. This is
Yeah.
part of this stuff down here that which is flows
Uh-huh.
from 1970 and 1890
Oh,
until
okay.
so we're
I
up
get
in
it.
this
Okay.
area here, right? Now the fact that there
So
isn't much gas means it is
yeah,
somewhat plausible to go down there.
that's what I
Um,
was thinking. Because I think so
but
it was
we're
the gas that would cause, yeah, unable for the live people or animals to like come near this surface. So because it's
yeah
like come down so drastically to like 17.5 tons a day, like yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. That's cool.
And of course, you have gas masks and sensors on it. If the winds change or the gas levels start rising, then you get out of there. But this is a
Yeah.
typical spot. So the cameras
Uh-huh.
are inside this pelican case. You put a pelican case with power and wires in
Need
there
some
to
protection.
give you some protection. On the other side, you can't see is a quartz window where it can look out at stuff. But it's trying to there is some of this gas can be acidic, and so you do have to try to do some
I love
protection.
breathing acid. Acid in my lungs is my favorite thing.
Again, this is not bad. This area here is not bad.
Yeah, I'm sure you
And
monitored it before you went down there. I'm
oh
quite
yeah,
sure.
yeah, and also other thing as well is that this is more like going to the Yellowstone geyser basin, right? You'll smell stuff, but it's not really that bad. But you still go with some precaution, and people are monitoring.
Nah, I will never go down there. Nah, I'm just gonna like you go, you go. I'm gonna stand here. I'm gonna hold the rope to pull you back if something goes wrong, but I'm not going down there.
There's an opportunity to put stuff there. Now, obviously, if there was a big eruption or quake, then this would fall over. But Madam Pele likes to munch on cameras and sensors on occasion. So this is setting up for her a snack.
So, like, how much does this equipment cost?
Ah, the paparazzi.
I mean, some of the cameras actually are observatory cameras, sort of hand-me-down cameras. USGS doesn't get a lot of funding, so they get some donations at times, but they also spend. The cameras are can be fairly expensive, particularly some of the thermal cameras, and the sensors are such that it has to be powered someplace. You don't want to be down there changing the battery.
They would like
So you have a
start
powered
from
system.
minimum 3,000 or something, right? US dollars,
Yeah.
the cameras and the sensors. Yeah.
But this is a typical thing. Like here's a sensor for a tilt meter on a spot.
This to me just looks like some video game nonsense where I'm just like, why is this thing here? What's inside of it? Ooh, a health pack. Some ammo.
So you see sort of these sensors of material that you put out there for stuff.
So how many more did you put out?
This is a temporary GPS. This was just the one camera here.
Okay.
But there's other people that put in some of these things of GPS things. These are very accurate measuring positions of stuff and tilts of stuff, expansion of stuff.
Money? Why is there money in here?
So let's look at earthquake.
Yes, please. Because I think so Landon's prediction was correct on that, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. So if in the overall island chain, the big island is this place where lots of wiggles go. And if we zoom in here, we see all this pile of material. We see sort of two piles.
Yeah.
See this pile around the summit. This is the material that's deeper, that's coming up from depths. These are very deep earthquakes. This is fairly shallow stuff. So when you look at this spot here, we have roughly 1,000 earthquakes over the past 30 days. Let's zoom into the summit and see what's happening in the summit. So the summit here, so here is the caldera. Here's Haldi there. That's the drop-down block. So that gives you a scale. This spot here, if we go over to our map, is this spot. So this disk here is over in here is this spot here. And we see there's a pile of earthquakes, and they seem to be going in a bigger direction.
So if they're near the surface, does it mean so the lava is moving underneath the surface level? Is it?
Well, magma's underneath, but that can come from a couple of things. You can have magma receding, so it's no longer holding the rock, and the rocks are and it's sinking in and cracking. Right? It can be. Okay. You can get earthquakes from it contracting, or earthquakes from expanding. Rock would like to stay the same, and when there's pressure changes, it breaks. Now, if we were to say get rid of and say we want magnitude 2.5 or less, we have this section. So what this tells us is that most of these quakes are very small. These are small, brittle rocks cracking, and yet there are a number of earthquakes that are heading, and it's heading in this direction. Remember what this is representing. Let's go back to our map and look here. Here's the summit, and this is the southwest rift zone. So what it was suggesting, possibly, is that these set of earthquakes are heading down the southwest zone. This is the fault line. The old eruptions were heading this way, since like 1983 or so, the magma was heading in this opposite direction. The magma was heading on the east rift zone. It hasn't been in this region since the 1960s, 1970s. Now, it did have some spectacular lava eruptions, and if you take the chain of craters road, there's a wonderful drive. See this line here is actually this wonderful drive. You go around. So you go around the summit area at the visitor center, and you take this nice drive down. You can go through spectacular flows that came in the late 60s or 70s. But you can tell there is.
So the highway is like in the pathway of the flow, the lava flow, is it?
Yeah, well, but they obviously built it after the the end of the 1974.
Okay, so okay. Oh yeah, just construct a highway across like the previous lava flow, okay, cool.
The lava's never gonna come there again. Lightning never strikes twice, Maanyaa.
Yeah. So
I'm joking.
So if what's happening here is that the magma is beginning to push its way down the rift zone. This is the rift zone heading from the summit down this way. It suggests that perhaps it's finding weak spots there, or the rock is beginning to crack because the underlying magma is easing its way towards this section. The old path, and you can see these craters going down this way. The old path, if we zoom out a little bit more, this old path of these craters along here, some people think that those tubes collapsed when the end of the eruption occurred. Essentially, this path kind of collapsed, but this is an old path that could be reopened, and so we're trying to. We've got another quake. Look here. What is this? Look at what is this guy here? Well, this guy is a magnitude 2, and it's a depth of 1.4 kilometers. So these are fairly shallow, 1 kilometer, right? These are fairly shallow, 1 kilometer in east, 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer, half kilometer. So these are fairly shallow quakes along the spine.
Yeah, I think so. And the deeper the earthquakes, like the epicenter of the earthquake is, like the more you feel it at the surface as it the waves come up. So it looks like this one eruption, there's something like going on at 1.7 kilometers.
Yeah. Now these are very small quakes, because if you say 4.5 or bigger, you got nothing, right? There's no large quakes here. Even at 2.5, like the biggest one here is a 3. But there are quakes going in this direction in terms of in the last 30 days. You look at the last 7 days, they say this is not a recent. So in the last 7 days, we've had 125 quakes in this zone. In particular, if you look at, let's zoom on the surface, this region has 104. So it's 104 quakes that here's Holy Maanyaa, and here is the southwest zone here. And again, these are relatively shallow earthquakes.
So these are like new earthquakes that happened in the last 30 minutes, is it? 30 minutes or 30 days. Sorry, my bad.
Actually, now I've showed you the last 7 days.
What? 104 in last 7 days.
Yeah, so let's look about today, the last day, see what that is. 18.
Oh, wow.
18 today.
Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, just casually like, oh, yeah, 100. Madam Pele is like, yeah, here, take 104 earthquakes.
So it's very, the previous eruption, we had lots of quakes at the summit. Why? Because the magma was pushing there and cracking rocks, and rock was breaking. Now we see this trend of summit quakes. So there is a bunch of pile of earthquakes at the summit. I'll grant you that. But particularly, you look at the last 7 days, they're not at the summit, they're along the spine or near the spine. And they're relatively shallow. So is this an indication of magma on the move? Well, one would think that if magma were really on the move significantly, we would start seeing gas coming up, because this is the fault zone with all kinds of cracks, and we start to see gas escaping, and we start to see elevated gas coming from this region.
What did you say? Can you repeat that? What starts coming out?
Well, as magma's on the move, because you've got gases coming in solution, going from liquid to vapor, it's going to push against the rock and crack, and the cracks in the rock and the fault zones that are here are past where the gas can escape up and start coming to the surface, and you begin to see you begin to see some wisps of the material, and the type of gas you get tells you where it's boiling. Right?
It's the type of gas that you get outside of a crack.
Yeah. And the surface might be cold, right? Because it's just gas coming out. It's not being heated, but the magma that's done down deeper is deforming the rock, breaking the rock, creating earthquakes, and allowing some gases to escape. So you could say, well, why isn't gas escaping? Oh, we just had another quake. This one here. Yeah, another 2.0. Just happened.
Quakes are happening as we're watching this right now.
Yeah. Yes. So, so like I said, if it's doing this many in a day, then now if you were out there standing, a magnitude 2 quake, you might not notice it. If you were sitting down, very carefully feeling and paying attention, you might feel a little bit of wiggle. So this is not tremendous wiggly stuff.
Shimmy, 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 shimmy.
Yeah. Because they say on the last day at there's nothing above 2.5 in the last day. In fact, the last 7 days have only a couple above 2.5. But again, the trend is along this spine, along the spine area, suggesting that's the weak spot of the rift zone. Again, back to the summit map. It's this southwest rift zone where we're seeing the quakes heading down. And again, there's another map showing you the depth of these things. And so, what does it suggest? Well, we've got elevated quakes that are beginning to suggest that magma may be on the move. Air quality wise, we look at the air sensors, and there is very little, remember that the number of tons was 75 tons. So this this outflow of gas is very, very light. And the other sensors around the area don't show any appreciable venting. Ku'o was the old big lava vent there, and it's nothing's coming on this spot. So gas wise, there's very low gas there. It's nice you can put sensors in there, waiting for something to happen.
Waiting for Madam Pele to go out.
So here's a recent view of the recent view of the summit.
Beautiful.
Hawaii time, because that's what this is here. And you can see essentially there are a couple of these islands. If we look at the live view here, so there's a live view, and again, there's some smoldering of stuff. Here's a drop-down block where the camera sensors went. And now this particular camera moves, so we can watch it. It'll move over to the other side. There it is.
Hey.
Remember this is that side vent that towards the end of the eruption is coming out the side and pouring in this way. So basically,
keep your eyes out for birds.
The magma said, and birds would survive in here. This is fine.
Right now,
the magma
would. This time,
it's
currently.
This is too difficult. Went off to the side, and again, this direction going off this way is towards that southwest zone. So the earthquakes are heading in that opposite direction.
So 2 questions. One, the white surface is the rock that's hardened, right?
Yes, and there's also minerals on top.
And
so the outgassing the material, this gas will deposit minerals.
Oh, yeah.
I have sorry, go ahead. I have another question.
On the right, like the side vent, is it vertical into the mountain, or what?
Yes. So it actually started up here on the side. It came up around the block and came out the side. So if you go to the map, it basically came over here.
Interesting.
In fact, if you look at the stuff, go ahead.
Sorry, I just have a question.
So right up is steam, mostly steam and a little bit of sulfur dioxide, and a little bit, and of course it rains there, so you get water goes down there and percolates and comes up steaming wise. But this is fairly solid.
Hydrochloric acid, everyone. Not hydrochloric, sorry, hydrosulfate.
I have a question about the deposits. Is so like we know that there's like regular volcanic activity in and around the Hawaii area. Is that like an economic thing? Do they is there industry around gathering and selling to other people the very very fertile residue and like deposits?
I don't
like part of their economy.
That Hawaii is shipping stuff. I think Hawaii farms on land that is rich in soil. So the Kona coffee bean, for example, is an area on the side of Mauna Loa. There are also other and they have agricultural crops that benefit from it. I don't know that there's mineral extraction. And a place like here, the summit, if you started, because it's a national park, but if you're allowed to do it, you'd be there for a little bit before Madam Pele says, time to go to dams again. And in fact, one of the things that happened, one of the casualties of the end of the 2018 eruption, where all that cubic kilometer of magma moved down east-west zone, was that it wiped out the island's largest geothermal plant. They had hot rocks and water and so forth, and were generating steam, and it became quite thermal and quite geo.
Yeah.
And white. So in some cases, having a volcano on the volcano is
Honey, go get another coffee.
What?
But you can see here, you can see here towards the end, it did build a nice mound and spill down this way. And again, this direction off to the essentially off to the right is going down the rift zone, and towards that direction is where those earthquakes are starting. Underneath.
Yeah, lava rocks?
Right.
Exporting of lava rocks?
There's a notion people say that it's bad luck to take Pele's children away. They say, I know you're not allowed to export like black sand beaches. That Hawaii prohibits people from mining beach sand. And as a result,
that makes sense.
When there are erosions of places like the Waikiki Beach, a really yucky spot on the island of Oahu. It's a really touristy thing with ABC stores and other gross stuff there. The Waikiki Beach sand is mostly been barged in from Monterey, California, off the coast.
Oh, interesting.
Because when they put up all those resorts on Oahu at Waikiki, they disrupted the water flows, changed the tidal action, and essentially the waves washed away whatever beach was there. So they went to California, piled sand on barges, and came there and dumped it in Waikiki. So you see a fake beach along with fake tourist stuff. Don't go to Oahu, Waikiki. It's gross.
There are better places you can go.
Yes. Anyway, back to this spot. It still is a nice place to visit. And the Big Island, they're welcoming tourists. Just be nice, and you will find the Polynesian hospitality is quite lovely.
Alive.
That's the current thing. Any questions or comments or questions from the?
Yes, we have questions, but you need to come back first.
Okay, let's go. Let's come back. So let's go to
come back, Landon. Don't leave us.
And we'll do this. Okay.
Hey!
Hooray! So, allegedly, Red Eye is asking if Gilligan's Island is still intact.
I think Gilligan's Island was covered in this last eruption.
Yes, that appears to be the case.
There are 2 islands reported here from previous lava, and if there is stuff, this section here may be part of Gilligan's Island. This tiny little spot here. If we look at the photo here, so there may be a little bit of Gilligan's Island here, but it's pretty much covered up, and I'm not sure even that's the island or that's just another block from the previous eruption that sort of floated.
So currently, it's inconclusive. Maybe the island is still there, but is completely submerged, and it's basically Atlantis now. For now,
yeah, we might have to journey to the
foreseeable future
to find it.
And the size of those 2 island spots here and here is pretty small.
Yes,
and it's probably these uplift spots are probably more because gas is coming out and cracked it than essentially a floating rock.
Yep.
It seemed like in the last eruption, to go to Red Eye's thing, the volume of lava that came out and at the beginning of this last eruption was at the scale like we see typically of Mauna Loa, and it flooded this caldera fast, and the island didn't have a chance to detach and float, so they got sunk.
The next question was from God's Auditor. Hello, God's Auditor. Good to see you. I haven't seen you around too much in the live chats recently, so good to see you. Landon, are you into rock hounding at all?
I have done rock hounding in places where it's allowed. Here in National Park, it's not allowed. When we take lava samples, they go to the laboratory, and we then take them back. In fact,
what did you say? Laboratory?
We take them back. We go to basically when we take to a laboratory, the rocks samples go to the laboratory, do analysis, and then they get sent back to the spot where they were taken from.
Oh, that's okay. That's good.
Catch and release rocks.
You do not want to steal Madam Pele kids, right? So you gotta return them back.
And you proceed there's thinking about saying you bring your backlogs and so forth. But there's also a matter of cultural sensitivity, right? Traditionally,
Yes.
these would be Pele's children, and
Yeah.
if you steal them, he gets mad. And when she gets
Of
mad,
course, she will get mad. Any mom would get mad. It's like,
so you try and not be a jerk. So the rocks that are borrowed, one of the things if you volunteer on a lava sampling is one of the volunteer things is to get a backpack full of rocks from the previous time.
The golden rule. Don't be an asshole.
right?
Yes.
Especially to Madam
Yes.
Pele. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Hey, listen, the
So we
consequences of you being an asshole are not always the same across the board. Depending on who you're an asshole to and when and where you are, you may or get more or less consequences. So, like, just don't.
Oh, you
just
mean-
not.
You mean getting your one out of the 3 channels demonetized and the other one moving towards that? Oh yeah. Okay.
Nah, I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about channel demonetization.
Eventually, we'll be able to when this eruption period ends, we'll be able to walk on this surface, whatever the surface ends up being.
What?
But it's a very uneven surface, right? So if you look at here, there is in this section, this is a lot of cracks. This is a lot of silicates there, so this is very slick. So think of it like coated with glass and sharp.
Oh wow.
Bits.
It's brittle, eh?
Also,
Brittle.
it is nice and full of nutrients, and very warm
Wow.
and very moist. So the bacteria goes, yay, party!
Snuggly.
Right?
I am a bacteria.
Let's go,
I
baby.
identify as a bacteria. I want to be moist and warm.
I identify as a
So-
moss.
You're
So
a
if you
moss?
fall-
I'm pretty sure I'm a fungus.
On this glass, the glass that rolls to the top, and fall on it and cut yourself. You'll cut yourself fairly bad, and those wounds then can get infected if you don't treat them right away.
So
Oh, yeah.
so the stuff that you wear to go in that area, is it cut resistant or is it like no?
Yeah, you got to
Kevlar.
protect yourself.
God's
Well, you can see
following
these
up.
stuff. There's stuff to trip on. There's broken bits and so forth.
Wait.
This is material that was probably lava in the 1970s, right? This is fresh stuff over here that is very difficult to walk
Where-
on.
Am I missing something?
So back to
supposed to be
the
looking-
question. I'm sorry.
Oh, God's
Oh,
Auditor had followed up and said that where he lives, he's got like just a bunch of rocks on his property, and some of them are kind of shiny. So he's magpieing it up over there since it's like his space anyway, and he's. I think basically what you're doing is you're just like relocating the rocks in the same area. You're not like taking them from anywhere.
Yeah, you sample out of a lava flow or near the spot, you bring them to a lab for analysis. When the analysis is done, you again, you don't collect them because you just have a giant pile of rocks around. So you basically send them back where they came from.
Yeah.
They're marked where they came from, under what conditions, so the analysis has some scientific meaning. And then when you're done, you put the rocks back.
That's the classic. The difference between science and fucking around is writing it down.
Right? Science and capitalism, if I might dare say.
I'm pretty sure capitalism is just fucking around. Pretty sure that's fucking around and finding out.
Yeah, I'm giving it a more technical name.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah.
Other questions?
so has it happened in the past like that someone's dared to steal Madam Pele's children? And Madam Pele was
Yeah.
like, you dumb
In
fuck.
fact, the post office in Hawaii gets rocks mailed to it from people because the stories go that someone takes a rock as a souvenir, even in places like a park where you're not
Oh.
supposed to, or outside a park. And then the legend says it'll bring you bad luck, and whatever
Oh.
thing they say told her bad luck, they say, oh, it's because of this rock. So they mail the rock and the post back to the post office saying, please put this rock back. They sometimes will even describe where they stole it from with an apology.
Really?
And you go to the post office in Hilo, and they have a room. They say, yes, here's a pile of rocks that people mail back because they
Oh
experience
damn!
bad luck.
Madam Pele means business. Holy shit!
Yeah,
She's
it
like,
is.
she's
So
like, you
what
wanna
people
take my children? Deal with it.
say, don't do that. Now again, in a national park, you're not supposed to take things. And again, from research purposes, they're relocated temporarily and then put back.
That's the thing with the Grand Canyon too, isn't it? The Grand Canyon's like you're not supposed to be there doing really anything beyond the paths without like a permit. Isn't that something I think Dapper covered on his channel at one point? There was somebody who got kicked out. Like they're like, you're not allowed to be here anymore.
Some of these, there's some people who do so-called creation science research to go and look for proofs of Noah's flood, and they get run afoul of the law because they steal things from a park.
Oh damn!
You can go to permit to do
I'm pretty
analysis.
sure stealing is against the rules in the Bible, aren't they? Isn't it?
Yeah, but stealing for your purposes. Well, no.
I stole for Jesus.
Jesus, like, don't include me in this shit. Put it back. Put it back.
But so the postal will say that they, and I forget how much it was, but there's a non-trivial amount of rock that gets mailed back to Hawaii from people saying, sorry, please get this back, please, apologize.
Oh my god, like it must be really something happening, like for them to like mail it back and say like, take it back, please. Like something must have happened, like at regular intervals or something like that. Like, damn.
I'm sure that if you did a search on there for Pele rock curse,
healing,
you'll find Pele's curse. In fact, there's a Wikipedia page called Pele's curse.
Okay.
Hawaii's hot rocks, blamed by tourists for bad luck, and believes that anything native Hawaiian, such as sand rock, pumice, will bring bad luck to whoever takes it from Hawaii. One version of the legend Genesis is disgruntled black ranger, angry at the number of rocks being taken from the islands, said that Pele would curse them with bad luck if they should take anything. Another version says it told bus drivers of stuff. Anyway, the myth has caught on. It originally is a taboo, right? From the days when this was sacred area, taking stuff from it without proper ceremony was considered to be a naughty thing. And of course, stealing from national park is.
I am pro assholes getting cursed.
Yeah.
This may or may not be the feelings of representative of YouTube or everybody in the stream or blah 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 blah. I think that.
And also like
I
was reading the Wikipedia.
Good.
Yeah. So I was reading the Wikipedia article that you brought up. It was a disgruntled park ranger who cursed people. So it's like, this is a guy who really loves his job, and it's like, this is my thing. You assholes don't get to do this to my thing, my area, my place.
So being from Canada, our like park rangers are like not, so they're not Mounties, but they have the same like. I'm just imagining like Brendan Fraser in what's that movie? Dudley Do-Right? No, yes. Dudley Do-Right. Just running around, just being like somebody walks through his park and litters, and he just like grabs him by the shoulder. You are cursed.
Yeah. I mentioned over in Wikipedia. Wikipedia, of course, is sometimes is a fount of apocryphal knowledge. But if you do other searching along that line, you'll find a number of stories, and the post office talks about stuff there. Again, it's a thing that people talk about. I don't take rocks from here. It's a national park. I don't need the rocks from here. I can come back and appreciate what Pele's doing.
There any day and have a look at them. You don't need to take them with you anywhere.
But what about in your own backyard? Do you still Canada rocks, Landon?
I have, I don't. I'm sorry.
Busted.
Upper Michigan, it's Upper Michigan. The Saint Sainte Marie. I have a glacial rock from there.
That's cool.
So
it was
so there's if you. So is there a way to actually take rocks away from Hawaii if you do it the right way? Is there a right way to do it if you want to take rocks away from Hawaii?
You get a permit for study and for a particular purpose, and you describe this stuff. And they also want to see your techniques, not just saying I want a rock, right? But you say we're doing this type of analysis. We're looking for these rocks in this area under this condition, and then here's the where we're going to publish our findings and right? Is how this stuff. So when I've been on the sampling thing, a lot of it, the more boring part is recording date and time and location of stuff and conditions of the rock that are then brought back to the lab. They're tagged and then analyzed. You're not just going out and collecting stuff.
So that's taking it to your lavatory. Like off the island, it's the same process to take them off the island too.
Yes. But there are plenty of spots at the Volcano Observatory where you have materials right there readily handy as opposed to shipping it off off island. Now you might sit there and say, well, has anything ever come out? Yes, I've got a mug that has ash in it. I've certainly probably walked on it and had boots with dust on it, but that's not really skill. That's just dirt drying.
Can't avoid that. It just do be like that sometimes. As somebody who was gardening yesterday.
Other questions?
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well,
Maanyaa?
just goes for I think so. There should be similar curse for every other indigenous land or property out there. You mess with it, you're gonna get cursed. I think so. It is most of the time. They say you want to mess with it, you're gonna get cursed. I think so. Especially the Navajo tribes and the Maori tribes. Yeah, they have their legends. You don't mess with Mother Nature.
I'm pro curse. There are not any other questions, so we can move into our predictions.
Hey.
Okay, so
prediction.
Landon was right last time, right? That's what we decided?
Yep.
Pretty much so. I mean, it wasn't, I wouldn't say that the deflation inflation was really spot on, but
it was close.
The earthquakes, the frequency of earthquakes was correct. You said it's going to increase, right? So you were correct in that regard.
Yeah. So I guess and by the chat can play along with this as well. What do you think?
Oh yeah, if you guys got predictions, I'll put them on screen. If you guys want to predict, we'll take a look at those.
I mean, those that have followed the show now have access to all this data. You've seen the trends and so forth. You're just as capable.
I hope you were paying attention because this is the test.
Yeah. So, Landon, what do you want to say for next time? What we will see?
I think we will continue to see earthquakes moving along. I would say moving down the southwest rift zone. I don't know how far, but I think we'll continue to see that the finger of those earthquakes, shallow earthquakes, going, heading off to the southwest. First of all, I do not believe that we'll see lava on the surface. So Kili won't be erupting. I think we'll see continued earthquakes down the spine. By the way, let me just temporarily again show you here on the screen sharing. And I want to again talk about these cracks here. If you look at this spot here, and we'll zoom in, you can see all these cracks and faults on the surface, right? This is where the vent was, and this is going down the southwest zone. All these cracks here are part of the southwest zone where the magma is moving underneath. And if you look at the depth of it, I mean, this from here to here is around 300 meters. So the earthquakes are occurring at about 3 times the depth of this drop, and they're heading down this way. This was the last spot, the weak spot where the side vent occurred. So I think we're going to continue to see earthquakes going down southwest zone. I think that we will continue to see weak deflation events. By weak meaning you sit there and say, well, that kind of looks like one, as opposed to really obvious, right? Okay. And believe the gas vent, the gas levels in Halemaumau will be low.
Will be low, will remain around the same level, or they will go lower?
Yeah, we're around the same level, right?
Huh? Sorry?
Around the same
remain
level.
around the same level. Low, 100 ton, on sub 100 ton type of thing.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's correct. We got some interesting predictions in the chat that have gone by. More outgassing and less lava flow. From April. April thinks that there's going to be more outgassing and less lava flow, so it's similar to what Landon was saying about there's not going to be any eruption. We're not going to see any lava coming out the top, but more outgassing. And Gup said, I will predict it will erupt again on 9/11/23 at 5:23 a.m. That is a very specific fucking prediction.
What's the time?
5:23 a.m. 5:23 a.m. in what time zone though? Because that's we're not all in, none of us three even in here are of the same time zone. So that's unless you're just saying like it's gonna be 5:23 somewhere, which I will also accept.
yeah, why not?
Yeah. So if between now and our next show, Pele would erupt, I would say, well, okay, that's not surprising. But I don't, at this stage, the reason why I'm less inclined to say we're going to see an eruption very soon is that we don't see the DI events. We're not seeing gas levels rising. And we haven't had a couple of major earthquakes. Usually, if magma's on the move, you get some bigger than 2.5 quakes on occasion.
They are very small so far. Yeah. Maanyaa, what do you got? Or you want me to go first?
I say that spine that's on the southwest direction might open up and spill out lava. How about I go that way?
Oh. Do you take the bold prediction, right? So that if it starts erupting, then Maanyaa can say yes. See?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go with. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go on. Yeah. So like it happened with the other spine, right? It created a whole new area of island.
Out the side.
I'm gonna go that way.
Man, I've been predicting that forever. She's just taking my prediction. This is nonsense.
If it does erupt, where do you have a guess as to where you think the lava is? The lava going to come to the surface or going to come outside?
It's going to go down the southwest spine and into the ocean and, give us something new. That's what I'm
coming out the side. She thinks it's going to come out the side.
Yeah. I may not reach the ocean by the time it's there, but that's typically if you get a rift eruption, you get a very brief period where you get these long curtains of lava that come because the magma is reaching the surface, getting the fault zone, and you get these lots and lots of little fountains. It's quite pretty, and it pours one side or the other, depending on what side of the ridge it goes on. It's actually quite beautiful if it does that.
Mr. Sirius agrees with Maanyaa. Mr. Sirius is like, my prediction is that one. One, you are right. One of you are right. He thinks one of us is right. Okay.
I'll say that Maanyaa's prediction is not
bad.
Unreasonable.
Yeah. I'm gonna vote that I think, as if this is a vote, is Pele a democracy? Is that how that works? My prediction is I think we're going to see we're gonna start to see more intense earthquakes.
Okay.
And I agree with similar. I'm thinking they're gonna like start hitting up higher. They're gonna be more intense, like not necessarily greater in volume. Maybe greater in volume, but greater in higher Richter scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I agree with April that we're going to start to see more gas as the lava continues to move around and slosh. We're going to have a little bit more gas out.
That would be consistent with an uptick in eruption, right? Magma on the move.
Yep.
If it's really getting on the move rather than just sitting there.
Yeah, I think we're all guessing that we're going to start seeing signs where we're going to start seeing an eruption, but we're not quite there yet, except Maanyaa, who's like, nope, it's going to fly right out the side.
Armageddon!
Of course, Pele could all of a sudden say, nah, I'm going to East Rift Zone again, suckers, and send it on that way. It all depends.
Somebody who's got the name Jiren-Urism.
Oh god.
Oh, that's really funny. I felt this one last evening in New Zealand, M6.6, south of Kermadec Islands, 2023-09-08 at 09-09-58 at Universal UTC, and 32.724 degrees south and 179.308 degrees west and 98.8 kilometer depth.
So that's a pretty deep.
Oh,
right.
That is deep.
Yeah.
This is in New Zealand.
New Zealand's very wiggly. It's got lots of.
Yeah, wiggly.
Maanyaa, have you felt earthquakes in New Zealand?
Oh, all the time. We are on a fault. I'm staying on a fault. I'm based on a fault.
By the way,
fault.
She's not doxing herself. If you look at the map where faults are, it's just everywhere. So
it's the whole island.
But yeah, like I am like some cities are away from the faults, or at the end of the fault line. So right at the start, at the top of it. So we feel earthquakes all the time, and we're just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
And we got one last prediction coming in.
Used to it.
Maanyaa is at fault. That's a good one.
Oh, I like that one.
That's a good one. We also got one last prediction coming in right at the end of our cutoff period, because I just made up the cutoff period right now, and you can't stop me. Is Alicia said, I think the island is going to stand up like Tafiti from Moana and turn into a lava monster. I'm here for it.
Island.
Yeah. If that were to happen, we would certainly let you know.
We'd have a lot to talk about. I'm here for it.
So yes, it's nice. It's nice to know that processes are going on that have nothing to do with Tories or orange-haired people or other crazy stuff.
Oh God.
Question: wasn't like the monster that came out of the island? That's Tafiti without her heart, right? So it was called Teka. I don't know what was the name of the the fire monster. That was Tafiti without the heart.
Moana fire monster. No, it's Tafiti. Te space Fiti.
No. Tafiti is able to create life and is a major character.
Te space Ka with a line on top of it.
Yeah, I was right. It's Teka. So yeah, I watch my movies.
Yay!
Yes, you do. But
It's about time we had a damn kaiju attack. It is. You're right. You're right.
But things are
Okay, so
things
Shesh,
are-
that's the only
Yeah.
that's the
So
only
more-
prediction you have. Going to see more intense earthquakes, high Richter scale. Start to see more gas as lava or magma moves around.
Yeah, more. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, what do you guys got
Well-
going on? What? Sorry.
Maanyaa?
Yeah. What are you guys doing this week? What do you got going on? What do you got to
Slept.
chill? You're gonna sleep.
Slept.
Now he's going to bed when he's done with his day. It's like 8 a.m. for you. Not anymore. It's like
Nah,
Well,
9:30.
9:30.
well, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, which is a weird thing, because tomorrow, for some people who are in Friday, tomorrow is this Saturday, not next Saturday. Right? When is Saturday next Saturday, and when is it the following week Saturday?
The 16th.
I think so. Aren't they the same?
Well, in some cultures, if it's Friday, the next day is Saturday. That is the next Saturday. In some cultures, they would say that's this Saturday, and the week following. So in this time zone, it's September 8th. So September 9th would be this Saturday, and September 16th would be next Saturday.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But next Thursday
my time
is the 14th of September. This Thursday or next Thursday? The rules about it are pretty ambiguous.
Yeah. Why do people make it so complicated?
It's the 16th. It's the 16th of September. That's when the show's gonna be. Come and join us. It's like at 6 p.m. my time or whatever, which is Eastern.
Yeah.
So we're then.
3 p.m. Pacific. Unnamed Tavern.
Yeah, we got that
Yay.
tavern. We have a lot
And
of
I think
topics.
we will have some events to talk about. I think there's some news articles and things that have been going on.
Some arrests happening, some prison sentences being delivered, and yada yada yada. Yeah.
And
things
Dapper's gonna
happen.
be there.
Oh yay!
Yep.
Wild
Yeah.
dinosaur. And then we'll have Dumb Fact Friday next Friday. And I'll be live on Sunday. If not later today. Probably not later today. I'm getting kind of tired.
It's a full house next week too, guys.
Yeah, we got... Okay, so... I'll be live on Tuesday for the shit show. There'll be a video that comes out on Monday. There is also going to be playing video games on Sunday on Twitch.
Nice.
Links
Yeah, it's a
in the
house
description down below.
full house.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a busy bee.
On October 1st at 11 Pacific, 11 a.m. Pacific, I'll be on the Milwaukee Atheists show. We'll be reading some chapter of Revelation.
Hey.
And they're getting near the end of the Bible. They've been going on almost like 4 years or so, 300 shows.
What?
So
Wow.
Ooh.
They're at the end
Oh,
of their
damn.
Bible stuff.
Damn.
Oh wow.
Check out
Ross.
Milwaukee Atheists and watch me there. Yeah, last
Tell them I
week.
say hi.
Will do. Their last was it last on the I was on the third. We had lots of beholds. It was a very beholding set of chapters. So.
Yo. That's wonderful.
Behold my treasure.
Behold the field in which I grow my fucks. Look upon it and see that it is barren.
Meanwhile, I will be working on calc, the programming language that does large math constant stuff. I'm working on obscure trigonometric functions. So that's my current.
Oh.
As if
And
trig
we'll
wasn't
do-
frustrating enough.
Yeah. And
That was
I'll be getting
obscure
ready,
trig.
ready for next month in October. We have our eclipse. Called an annular eclipse, where the moon's just a little bit too small, angular
Close.
diameter wise for the time. So we get a nice little
Very
ring.
cool.
Ah,
I'll be in the
nice.
Albuquerque area for those.
Well, and apparently Saturn last week was behind the moon.
yeah,
Oh.
it does that on occasion, but it was a nice. I didn't see it pop out, but those that some people watch the ingress and exit. I've seen Venus. No, I've actually seen Saturn go behind the moon too. That's
Well,
kinda cute.
It's like whatever hobby you're thinking you have pursued and it's unique. Now, Landon's already beat you to it.
Is Landon, are you a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck? Alright, thanks everyone for joining us. We're gonna get on out of here. Please, if you do want to help out anybody who is currently suffering down in the Hawaii region, please go and check the links down below.
Small donations will help.
Any little bit is helpful. It is going to be an ongoing issue for a while, so please, if you can, thank you so much. Thank you for supporting, subscribing, and sharing, and all that good shit. And we will see you guys next time. Have a good day, everybody. Bye!
Bye.